Hi, everyone. My name is Elaine Kelly, and I am part of the Adult Services Department here at the Leesburg Public Library. And I want to welcome everybody to our presentation, our class, on free resources for small businesses. The library is very aware that we have a number of small businesses around in our community, and we wanted to be able to broadcast to them what sort of resources we have both here at the library that are free on the internet, as well as what is available through the Small Business Association website out on www.sba.gov. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to screen share and show you the start of our presentation. We'll go through various different things, and we'll be able to transition over to the websites to be able to take a good look and detailed analysis of what's available there. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, so today's presentation is all about the SBA.gov and the Small Business Association's development centers. Part 2, which will occur next week, will contain all of the resources available here at the library that are free to our patrons, that you can access from home. You do not have to be on site, as well as all of the other resources that I was able to locate for you on the open internet. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to go and take a detailed look at the Small Business Association's website. And then we're going to take another deep dive onto the development centers section of Florida, as well as some of the links that they have identified there. Let's start off first with unpacking all of the information that I mailed to all the participants of this particular program. The first thing that should be coming to you will be a hard copy of all of the slides that you see here in the presentation. You can take your notes against each one. And then the other thing that I mailed to everyone were 3 templates that are available here at the Leesburg Public Library via Microsoft Word. For business plans. This way you have these documents available to you in case you have to put that together for your business. So let's get started. We're going to start off with the SBA's website. And on this particular website, once you access it, you will see 5 headers up on the top of the screen. One will be business guide, another will be funding programs, a third will be federal contracting, the fourth will be the learning platform, and the fifth will be the local assistance. We're going to go through each one of these to kind of give you an overview of what's there before we go out onto the website itself to see what we have there. All right, the business guide is very good for a quick synopsis of what is required in each phase of a business. As you can tell, it's divided up into plan, launch, manage, and grow. And it basically follows a business from a napkin sketch or an idea all the way through to either closing or selling your business at the end of its life cycle. Many people, when they go through the various different phases of a business, may need to know a little bit of information. What does it contain? What should I have in place? Where can I turn to for some additional assistance? The SBA.gov is a very good source to give you that initial piece of information and then to be able to forward you on to specialists or consultants or even other websites that would be able to give you more detailed information. Under the funding program header, we have got 5 different categories. One is loans, pretty self-evident there. Different types of business loans that are available based on the size of your business, as well as what category of patron that you are going for. Grants, this is if you were applying to it, and you don't want to necessarily assume that it's strictly for nonprofit. There are grants out there that are designed for small businesses, as well as women-owned businesses, or even veterans. So if you have the time to be able to construct all and assemble all of the paperwork for a grant, definitely take a look out there. There may be something that's useful for you. If you're willing to let go of some control over your business, you may want to be looking at investors and how do you go about trying to get investment capital into your company. There's a whole section there that will talk you through, as well as direct you to some websites that will allow you to match up with investors to your business. Surety bonds, taking a look at this, these are actually like almost insurance policies. You would see these in concerning in the construction business, where you're making the statement that you will complete the business construction, on that site to its completion date. And those things guarantee that you go all the way through. You're not going to leave the project halfway through. And of course, you have disaster assistance. The thing that you have to remember with the disaster assistance is that your area needs to be identified as either being in a federal disaster zone. So we may be talking this as a result of something that's happened through weather, acts of God, economic, as well as health. With the pandemic that we have been experiencing, many areas have been labeled as a disaster area as a result of the amount of cases that have been assigned to that particular area of the country. So you definitely want to take a look at that if you have experienced any sort of business interruption as a result of any of those conditions: environmental, health, economic, or even just physical damage. Under federal contracting, you're going to have a contracting guide, which will help you in the process of being able to submit proposals to the federal government, or even local, state or local governments, to be able to try to do jobs for those particular entities. Counseling and help will help you with answering questions, be able to guide you as you submit certain individual proposals, as well as being able to link you up with maybe a mentor. The assistance programs are very unique in which they are divided into who owns a business, as well as it also gives you some options to be able to submit proposals to the government based on whether it be a mentor and a protege, or if you have a joint venture, two companies go together to be able to submit the proposal to the government. It's very unique in that regard, and it does allow people who have never done any sort of work with the government to be able to learn the ropes from someone who has already received contracts from the government. It's a win-win scenario for both entities, and we'll go through that in a little bit. The learning platform is very good. In the Learning Center area, they have the same categories as what we would see over in the business forms, business guide section of this website. But in the case of the business guide, you would just have a small, paragraph size amount of information. In the Learning Center, it's all video based, and each video is only probably a max of a minute or less. It would give you the same sort of information and allow you to think about what it means, give you some questions to answer, and then that will help you guide you to completing that particular segment of your business life cycle. Ascent for Women is all for women-owned businesses, in which it kind of gives a support system, asks you questions to be able to further advance your company and make it grow. Boots to Business is all about veterans. It gives the follow-up support as well as information how to transition from the military service out into the public domain. And Emerging Leaders are for established businesses in which executives or businesses themselves want to grow their company beyond the scale that they're currently receiving. You actually mentor with some other individuals, as well as there are specific training classes that you can attend to be able to give you some additional skill sets to advance your business. All right, so at this point, we are going to go over and take a look at the actual site. So I'm going to transition over to that. Bear with me as I change my screen. All right, the official URL address for the Small Business Association is www.sba.gov. When you first come onto the site, this is what you're going to see. Here are those 5 headers that we just reviewed, with the exception of the local assistance, which we'll get into last. Under the business guide, here are our 4 headers that I reviewed in our PowerPoint slide: plan, launch, manage, and grow. I chose some main items off of it, but you can see that under each area, there are quite a number of other little segments of a business life cycle that may be of interest to you. So I'm just going to randomly choose one so we can actually work our way through. And I'm just going to click on Write Your Business Plan here under Plan Your Business. Okay, here's our Plan Our Business. I'm going to say Write Your Business Plan. Always good to have because it allows you to use this when you apply for loans, as well as if you're going to do ask for investors. They would also want to take a look at what you see your businesses as being inside of the community that you're in. When you click on the header, obviously it repeats the title right here. But as you go down, you scroll down the page, you actually see a little bit of blurb as to what it's good for, what it's about. It will tell you if there's particular formats that are required. And then it will go into a little bit of what you need to have for each. In the case of a business plan, there are 2 different types. One is the traditional, which is very long and detailed. The other one is probably a page or 2 in length, and it is very, very short and sweet and to the point. Now, you may be leaning to the lean startup plan just because it doesn't require a lot of detailed analysis and information. However, keep in mind that the people that you would normally give that particular type of business plan to are investors who just want a quick overview. If they are interested, they are going to follow up with you and ask for the more traditional version. So in some cases, some businesses do have both developed. So in case whomever asks for what, they can easily transfer the file to them. But in most cases, businesses will have the traditional version available. It is required when you do apply for loans. If you continue to scroll down the page a little bit more, here's a little bit about the traditional. The lean one does follow a little bit farther down the page, but it does cover all the different sections of the plan. And here's where you get just a little bit of a blurb. It's a paragraph at best. Sometimes it's just a sentence, but it does give you an overall perspective of what is required as a component of this particular segment. If you're going to look for more detailed information, that's where we're going to go over onto the learning platform. This particular website is very good, and that's very cyclical. One area will feed directly into another. In this case, you've got a little bit of information about what's in the business plan. To get more detailed information, you go over to the learning platform and you select the business plan option over there, which we will do in a few minutes. And then you can transition back here if you have some further questions, just to get yourself acclimated with what you need. All right, inside the description here, you're going to see various different links. In this particular case, they're talking about a legal structure of a business. If you link to this, you will actually go to, again, another section of this particular website to learn all about the legal structure. And then you can transition back over to here or go into the learning platform one more time to be able to get further detailed analysis of the different types to make your selection for your particular business. All right, going further down, you will see the traditional. And then one of the things I do enjoy under here, the business guide, is that it does give you examples. In this particular case, they've given you 2 examples here of the traditional business plan, in which you can see Rebecca owns a service company and Andrew does a product. All right, so that might encompass manufacturing, inventory, as well as sale and distribution. So this is very good because sometimes we get a template. In this particular case, what I have sent to you in part of our materials for the class, I've gone ahead and included those templates for you, but they're blank. They may give you some prompts of what to include, but you kind of want to know what are some of the wording that I could have. Let me look at one to give myself ideas. This is a very good place here on the SBA.gov site in which you can actually access one that has already been created, and you can get an idea of how best to word your own as you kind of work through this particular document. Then we come over here to the lean startup. So we're going to the other type of way that you can format this plan. Again, you're going through the particular sections of it. And as you can tell, it's just a sentence or 2, not a lot, but it does give you an idea of what's going to be contained on that particular type of document. You come down here, again, here's an example of one that's already pre-filled out. And you could always have this at the ready if you're going to create your own document. And down here at the bottom, you need some help. Here's a counselor. And they will actually figure out which type of counseling service, whether it be SCORE, which is a very prominent website that we will also be reviewing in part 2 of this program, in which you can actually find a mentor as well as additional templates and examples that you can use to refer to as you go through the process of setting up your own company. The Development Center we'll talk about a little bit later in this particular session. The Women's Business Center and the Veterans Business Outreach Center are specific areas based on the type of business you have that you could possibly tap in addition. Regardless, what they do want to communicate here is that you are not alone, and that if you do have questions, there are resources that you can tap and people that you can speak to be able to help you get your answers. So I'm going to come back up to the top of our page here. So this is what that business guide was, okay? And it covers, again, everything turnkey from a napkin sketch, the light bulb coming up above our head, all the way to selling the business and turning it over to someone else. Under the funding programs, if you remember, these are our 5 categories: loans, investment capital, disaster, surety bonds, and the grants. All right. Make sure that you take a look, because certain loans only apply to certain types of businesses, but they do talk about each one of these that you can click onto, find out a little bit about that particular item, and then it'll give you some resources as to where you can look to find people to get you that loan. Again, here is the disaster assistance. And the reason why I bring that up is because here in Florida, we do run into a number of cases or a number of times where we might fall under the disaster zone area. A hurricane could blow through. But we could also have some severe storms at night. We've had those before, in which we've had some downed trees. They may fall onto your business, and you have to get all of that cleaned up before you can get back up and running. Anything that has been labeled as something that stops your business may be covered underneath the disaster assistance. So definitely look through there, see if you meet the qualifications, and if so, see if there's some opportunities there to be able to help yourself out. One area that I do want to point out here is if you happen to be part of the military and you are about to go and be deployed, there are some reservist loans that would be able to, you'd be able to access so you can maintain and keep your business going while you happen to be doing your service for our country. Here are the grants down here at the bottom, okay? And again, you're going to see this first one here is the trade expansion. All right, this is to develop your business and move it beyond. So this is for existing businesses. And again, it does not have to be nonprofit. This could be a for-profit business to be able to fall in there. Just look at the qualifications and see if you do qualify, as well as community organizations. And this might be part of where the nonprofit will appear. Here under the federal contracting header, here are our areas here. The contracting guide on the far left. This is how you can assess your business, meet the basic requirements to be able to submit a proposal to your government entity to be able to do some sort of job for them. They talk about the different types of contracts, your size standards, and any roles and responsibilities. The counseling and help on the far right, this is where you can actually contact some directors, but it will also be able to look at some procurement centers and where you would need to submit some information also. Under the center section, this is where I want to kind of focus the part of our conversation on. You can tell that they have divided some assistance up based on the type of business, again, that you are part of, or that you want to be a partner with. And you can see we have the small disadvantaged business. All right, there are specific qualifications there in which it may be based on who owns your business, but it could also be based on location. Certain areas of the country are determined as being disadvantaged, meaning that there's not a lot of businesses in that, a small little footprint area that they've that the government has identified. And as a result, you are able to gain some valuable resources and preferences when you submit proposals to the government. You may be granted that particular amount of business. Women owned, they have a lot of areas that you could apply for that. That again, they want to try to make sure that you succeed. Veterans assistance, again, the boots to business sort of scenario. They want to help you out. They know that you've served our country. They also want to give you a step up to get your business established and going. Now here's this mentor protege program. If you want to get into government business, but you've never done it before, sometimes it helps that you have and you partner up with someone who has received contracts from the government. And what this allows is that the two of you go in together. One is labeled the mentor, one is labeled the protege, and they work together. The protege does a certain portion of the work, the mentor does another portion of the work, and they have a distinct amount of percentages of when they divvy out the returns from the contract. So, but what it gains is that the protege learns the ropes. It learns how to how to contact the government, how to create the proposal, how to set up the business to be able to respond to during certain demands from that particular contract, how to report what is happening, as well as when the contract is completed, how to do the final report into the government to say that it has been closed. There's a lot of a learning curve here, and being inside of that mentor protege program could really put you on an edge, so you would know how to do it when you can do it on a standalone basis. Now, joint ventures are pretty much a 50-50 partnership in which the two groups are going together, just kind of pooling their resources to be able to get the contract together. It is not like the mentor protege. The joint venture assumes that everyone is familiar with government contracts, everyone knows what is required, and they are working together in a true partnership fashion to be able to produce the product that is being contracted. The hub zone is also something that you may want to check out. Again, this is an area that has been designated based on area code as being an area that the government wants to help businesses get established, to build, to develop in their area based on the population and mix that they have available inside of that particular zip code. So you may want to check into that area, see if you qualify as part of the hub zone. And then again, that gives you some legs up and some additional resources available at your disposal, so you can apply for, again, some more government contracts. On all of the business sites that I reviewed in preparation for this particular class, they have all indicated that this section of the SBA.gov website is the most underutilized section of the site. It is the most advantageous, they say, and they do really urge people to check this out because it does give people some advantages when they do create the proposals to the government, and to be able to work with them and to be able to get acceptance of their proposals. So definitely check this out if you're interested in any sort of government contract. Here's our learning platform. We're going to go into the Learning Center, and we're going to talk about the Ascent Boost to Business and Emerging Leaders Initiative. So I'm going to actually click on here. All right, and under the learning platform, this really gives you the resources to be able to take a look and see what you have to do, but you can do it in very small bite-sized chunks. Scrolling down the page, here we come to our Learning Center. We'll go into that in just a second. Here's that Ascent for Women that I mentioned in the PowerPoint, which is a learning platform, and it is designed for women interested in starting to grow their small businesses. There are fireside chats, there are checklists or questionnaires that you can ask yourself to see if your business is set up and aligned to be able to get it growing. But there are also other counseling and mentorships, as well as articles there that are specifically designed for female business owners. Further down this page, you're going to see a link here that will bring you into the Boots to Business program, in which there is a lot that resources that can be revealed here for veterans or transitioning service members. There are also advantages here, resources and other opportunities available for the spouses of veterans. So please don't assume that you have to be a veteran to apply here. If you happen to be a spouse of a service member, there are also opportunities inside of here to be able to allow you to also grow your business, but also give you support opportunities from these entities. The Emerging Leaders Initiative, again, this is one we talked about. You're an established business. You have to be in business for a couple of years. You have to have a certain amount of net profit already there and you're interested in moving to your next level, okay? You want to keep growing that business, you want to branch out. This Emerging Leaders Initiative will show you what routes are available, as well as to opportunities to build those skills required to be able to get to that area. So I'm going to come back up here to the Learning Center, just so you can kind of see what's inside of here. All right, so here's these same sort of categories: plan, launch, manage, market, grow. And here from the federal contracting, here is that mentor protege program where it can talk you through that. And what you see here are some objectives underneath it. You do not have to complete all the objectives to say that you've completed the plan section of this learning. You can actually just pick and choose what you are specifically interested in. So I'm just going to click here on the plan. And you're going to see various different topics, okay? For instance, here's how to write that business plan. We're going to go into that in just a second. When we talked about legal requirements for your business, again, you can click here, buying a business, as well as if you happen to be a young entrepreneur and you're interested in trying to grow that area as you yourself are still trying to get yourself through school. So if I go ahead and I click here on how to write a business plan. All right, there are 21 objectives inside of here. And what it does is it talks you through how to collect the information required to make this particular business plan, as well as where it goes on the templates. All right, and as you can see, as you scroll down here, each one is video based and it tells you how long it is. So if you happen to have, in this case, 31 seconds to be able to watch this first video, you can just click on it. It can open up in YouTube and be able to watch it from there. But say that you just want a very specific section of a business plan and kind of see what you need to do. So for instance, we want to go down to, and we want to speak with, let's just say, marketing. All right, this one is a little bit longer. It's 3 minutes, 56 seconds. But if you want to look at specifically what is required for that one section of the template, click on that, watch the video, and you get some ideas of what you need to collect and then what you need to prepare for that particular section. The other thing that it offers down here at the bottom, I'm going to keep scrolling down, is at the very bottom of it, it gives you the actual documents, how to write a business plan worksheets. When you do click on this, it will tell you, give you these things that you can download onto your computer to be able to start to fill them out. All right, and you can tell that these are examples, okay? So they are not the templates, but they are just examples. So you can see what a balance sheet looks like, what a cash flow statement is. You have a checklist, so you can actually kind of work your way down. And here's an income statement sample. These are all available through Microsoft Excel, which we do have here at the library, and we can get you some templates on that also. All right, so these are good examples to have at the ready, see what they put where, why they did what they did, and then you can recreate it over onto your own template. All right, so the advantage under the learning platform area in the Learning Center is that you see each one of the items broken out by videos, small little videos that you can take and just process, think about, let it percolate in your mind, and then you would put what you would need down onto your own document. At the very bottom, it does have the link to where you can actually find examples that you can download and have also to refer to give you both the language as well as how to organize the item on your own particular document. So very informal, informational. All right, the last section here is the local assistance, okay? And here's where you can actually contact various different places to be able to get some questions answered, figure out how you can introduce yourself to these entities. They would be able to help you with this. The resource partners, these are the areas where they refer you over to a different website that gives you even more information available to you. We have the small business development centers, which are located around the United States. And then they are really designed, they tap the local resources as consultants, as well as local universities to be able to tap their research capability. And they bring those into contact with the small businesses in that area. It allows a synergy between the two entities to be able to promote, expand, and support the businesses in that area. The SCORE business mentoring, again, this is mentoring services where you can actually have someone to talk to about your particular business. What can I do? How do I go about this? I've got this obstacle facing me. How can I get beyond it? Very good source in that regard. They have a lot of great articles, but they also have more templates available to you. So as you come across a need for something in your business, it's also a very good source for you to go to. Here's your veterans outreach, as well as the women's business centers, designed specifically for those two groups of people that you may be interested in that. A community navigator is something that the US government has set up. They've set aside a certain amount of money, funding, to be able to get this out to the small businesses. They recognize that when they initially offered a couple of years ago in 2020, some funds for business relief as a result of the pandemic, that a lot of large companies who had the personnel to be able to jump onto that opportunity were able to gain the money to be able to continue their business without interruption. A lot of the smaller entities, this, mom and pop shops, who were not aware of that program or didn't have the resources to rapidly jump into and apply for that funding, may have been left behind. So as a result, the federal government established community navigators, and the SBA has identified certain entities in each state to act as the recipient, as well as and dole out this funding to their local communities. So in the case of Florida, there is only one community navigator that has been identified, and that is the Small Business Development Center located down in Miami. So if you are interested in seeing if there's some opportunities available for some funding, definitely give them a call there. Just click here on the community navigators, look for the Florida link, and go onto that website, locate the telephone number, and call to see what you might be able to do there. But the small business development centers is where we're going to go into now. Okay, and this is basically where you would key in your zip code to find what the nearest center is for you. All right, so down here at the bottom of the page, you say find an SBDC in your area. Click here on the link. And then it's going to ask you to enter in your zip code. So here for Leesburg, Florida, it's 34748. All right, it zeroes in here onto the state of Florida. And over here on the left-hand side, it will give you the local areas. It defaulted here to our district office, which is located up in Jacksonville. All right, but the closest one here to Leesburg is the one here at Central Florida down in Orlando. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit the website just so you can kind of see what happens. All right, and in fact, I've already got it opened up here on the top of my screen, so I'm just going to click over so you can see what it is. All right, this is the Florida Small Business Development Center here at Central Florida. And I'm very pleased to say that that they have done quite a bit of work on this site. The last time I had visited the site, which was probably about 6 months ago, many of the links that are visible here on the screen did not work. They just sat there and spun. There was no information that was relayed. They have done a tremendous amount of work on this site, and it's really made it very useful to businesses with a lot of different resources that are available. What you want to remember about development centers is that they have tapped consultants from the local area that are willing to speak with local businesses to answer their questions, to be able to guide them, and to work through any obstacle that they may have, which is, of course, here, request a consultant over here, a button here on the right-hand side in red. But the 3 areas that you really want to focus on here is special services, workshops and seminars, and resources. Under special services, these are all sorts of different programs that they have available that you may consider using for your business. Many have requirements and that you would have to make sure that you pass to be able to use this particular service. There may be application costs, and there may be continuing costs as you move through that program. So be very critical in your review of that service to see if that's something that meets your needs, and if you can, if you have some money set aside to be able to do this particular area. Inside of here, business continuation, okay, is very good because it does talk to you about disaster preparedness as well as disaster recovery. Again, Florida, we go through a number of storms every year. Being prepared ahead of time for electrical outages, flood damage, hurricane damage, that sort of thing. It's very good to be prepared in that regard. They walk you through checklists as well as giving you resources to be able to get certain things in place, whether it be what type of insurance to have, what sort of uninterrupted power sources that you should have for your businesses, what sort of arrangements you should make with your utility offices, that sort of thing. Look in that particular area. It's very good, especially for Florida. Here is growth acceleration services. Again, you're trying to move your company up to the next level. Human resources development, not knowing the size of your business. Sometimes you want to take a look at what skill sets that you have inside of your company. What do these individuals need to be able to make them even more productive than what they are right now? You can take some assessments, and the consultants will come back to you and review what those findings are, and be able to give you a training plan for your personnel to be able to, again, make each person more productive, more suitable for your business needs and where you want to take your business. Again, keep in mind, some of these programs do have a cost associated with them. This one does, but it's very minimal. And if that's something that you're interested in, you may consider possibly using that. If you're going to go into the international trade, that's where you can see what's available here. Technical for procurement, okay, where they talk here about governments, contracting. We have a number of government entities here in the Florida, especially with our Space Coast, as well as workshops to be able to, again, get you prepared to be able to submit your proposal to the government. The Small Business Institute, okay, is a very unique entity here for Florida. Our development center is associated with the University of Central Florida. And what you can do here, if you meet the qualifications, is that you can be linked with an MBA student out of the University of Central Florida. and they will actually work to create certain programs, help you advance your business in a certain area based on the speciality of that particular person. So for instance, if you needed to develop a whole, let's say, online social media platform for your business, you didn't have one before, it was strictly brick and mortar, you could tag with a MBA student, and they could put together a proposal for you for creating an online entity of your business. That's just one example. There's many out there that they can do for you. It is one of the advantages of us here in Florida. Consider using that for yourself. And again, here are some more women and minority business opportunities. Okay. Under the workshop and seminars, we have both upcoming webinars that you can register for, as well as webinars on demand. These are videos that you can actually watch right now, the video webinars on demand. Just by clicking on them, you can watch them on YouTube. Okay, that's what the little YouTube symbol is right here. And they cover a wide range of topics here that may be of interest to you, that you can actually watch, take notes, and then be able to come back and contact one of the consultants to be able to talk about what information was relayed in these videos, to see how it can apply to your business. So a lot of good information is here under the webinars. And then for the workshops, what's upcoming, breaks it out by calendar month. It will tell you whether or not it's going to be available on via the web, or if it's going to be in person, what the date is and how to register for it. You just have to click here on the link, and then you can go to the registration page. But a lot of upcoming programs are being set back up now that their classroom area has been opened up again from the pandemic, but a lot of stuff is still virtual, and which is advantageous, especially if you're a distance away from this development center. It is located down in Orlando. It's down at the old merchandising mall, down on Colonial Drive, State Road 50. The resources is something that I find very, very useful, especially for here in Florida. It will walk you through how to set up pieces of information. Okay. If you scroll down the page a little bit, you know that you have to get a lot of different pieces of information together. It talks about what the UCF, our University of Central Florida partner, can gather for you. Okay. That would allow you to know what is available here in the local community, as well as if you're going to branch out even further, to be able to tap that information so you have a really clear view of where you can grow your business. Coming down a little bit farther, you see federal resources, okay, that you can click on that goes directly to these various different websites. And then you come down here to the small business development centers, which we are in right now. And right here, this SBDC net, okay, which is the Small Business Development Center network operation. It does give a lot of additional pieces of information there. One word of caution, when you do click on this link, it does take a little bit for that site to load. So please be patient. It does have a lot of good information. And in fact, I want to show you what it looks like. So up here on the top, I've already got it open. This is what it looks like when it does appear, okay, in which it talks about how to get you some business research. One of the key areas here under the resources is the snapshots, where it wants to know what type of business that you were in, and it will be able to help you and give you very targeted information about that particular area. Market research links, how to get some information about your market in general, as well as the help topics. They do have a complete section here on cybersecurity, which if you do any sort of transactions over the internet, as well as use any sort of e-readers or cash processing like Square or Stripe, you may want to consider taking a look in there because it does give you some information on how to protect yourself and your customers. So I want to show you what the snapshots look like. So if you click on that, I've already opened it up here so you can see what it appears like. Under the snapshots, it asks you what category that you're in, and it will actually create all sorts of little pieces of information based on that category of business that you're going to go into. So what you would do is on that front page, you would fill out what type of business it would be, and then you would be able to just click through all the resources that it generates for you in its database. So say, for instance, that you're getting set to start up a bakery. If you click here on the bakery tile, it's going to think for a second. And again, be patient. This site does take a little bit of time to load. As you scroll down from the bakery, ooh, look at those nice croissants. You can get a checklist, which is right here is the downloaded template. Here's a business plan template, which is specifically designed for a bakery, so which might be advantageous for you. So you would find your own type of business category, and you would be able to find another template here, but it's already been designed and has all the language inside of it that refers to your organization. So in this case, in our example here, I've clicked on bakery. It's going to have all bakery terms, all cooking terms inside of the business plan. Okay. As you keep scrolling down here, it talks about what you may need to have in place as a result of some of the business interruptions. It does give you some very specific resources to be able to tap to kind of read to figure out what you would need to have in place. But then here's the big area down here that is very useful, and that it talks about the industry overview and some trends that are going forward. These are great statistics to have in your business plan and to be able to include, as well as then when you put in your local community, what you're actually going to be using when you set up your shop. You actually have an overview, and then you have a very narrow focus, which is a very, very good amount of information to have on your plans. But it talks about each one, a little bit more of that particular area. Talks about customer demographics, again, something that you need to have and be aware of. Does give you some estimates on some startup costs based on some various different people that have done some analysis on that. Okay, here are some business plans here. Now keep in mind that as you go into these, some of these may cost to get them. So but it's good to at least take a look at it. If you ask a question, it's free. All right, here's some associations that you may want to consider being a member of, as well as regulations, publications, and here's some employment trends. So a lot of good information here based on the type of organization that you have. So this SBDCnet.org is definitely a site that you want to explore a little bit more. So I'm going to come back over to our Florida small business. I'm just switching my tabs here along the top. All right, so we just went through this one right here, the SBDC net. And then as we keep scrolling down our page of our Small Business Development Center page, we come to our state of Florida. The one I want to kind of point you towards is this Florida Business Information Portal on Open My Florida Business. I really like this particular site because it will talk you through all the different steps that you need to set up for yourself to be able to open business here in Florida. So if you click on that, it's going to open up the site. I've already got it opened up here on the top, so I'm just going to go right to it. Starts off here where you actually type in the type of business that you want to begin. It could be bakery, it could be lawn service, it could be any sort of thing that you're doing, whether it be retail. As you start typing, you're going to see some options underneath of it. You just select the one that you want here. So I'm just going to back off on bakery and then I'm going to retype it. Oops. Help. If I spelled it correctly. It's going to think for a second. That's what the little thing is. And then you're going to see some options down below here. You want to identify what is the best category for the type of business that you've typed in. So I'm not going to be doing a grocery store. I'm not going to be manufacturing product, nor am I going to be trading food and dairy. I'm going to actually be creating a little standalone little bakery. Somebody comes in, they buy my little wares, and then they go on their way. So it'll be a restaurant and other eating places. So over here, you have a checklist that you can actually work your way down to verify that you have met all of the things that you need to here for the state of Florida. But regardless, as you kind of scroll down here, gives you a little bit of an overview, talks about what are included inside of here, gives you some more information. But as you come further down, all right, here are your steps. Okay, register your business with the Department of State. Apply for your employer identification number, register your business with the Department of Revenue. When you click on each one of these steps, it will take you out to that particular site so you can actually do and complete that step. All right. Once you're done, you return to this page and you go on to the next one. So if you click here on the employer identification number, it will bring you over to the site so you can actually key in what you need to have to be able to get your EIN number. When you go on to the Department of Revenue, it will prompt you for that EIN number. So you've already got it done, so you can immediately enter it in on step 3 and to be able to keep yourself moving forward. You feel like you're making some progress, which is always great. You don't want to get lost in any sort of loop. But you just work your way down, and towards the end here, you're going to see some optional areas here. Like for instance, explore assistance from the Department of Economic Opportunity. That's optional, as well as if you want to be a Florida lottery retailer. It's not required, but there may be some things that you may want to consider inside of there. It does at the very bottom give you some additional local government information, as well as if you need to do anything with any federal licensing considerations, especially if you're going to do any contracting with the local, state, or federal governments. Okay, but this walks you through. It's a very nice, clean site. And once you get through all that, you should be ready to go to be able to open your business and get yourself going. So at this point, I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint. Just to kind of refresh, we talked about our Florida Small Business Development Center. It is located at the National Entrepreneur Center, which is the old manufacturing mall on State Road 50 in Orlando. It does provide the seminars and the consulting services. A lot are one-on-one, but some do cost, so keep that in mind. It does serve an 8-county area, Lake County, which is ours here for Leesburg, is encompassed inside of here. But it does cover also the Sumter, the Volusia, and the Seminole, which is right near us. All of the consultants are certified with the SBA. So they've gone through their training with that, as well as they are business owners in the local community. So they bring to the table quite a number of resources and quite a field of experience. The Small Business Institute, again, this is one that you're partnering with an MBA student from UCF. They can develop an area of your business that you may not have any personnel currently on staff or ability or have the time to be able to develop that area. The MBA student would be a great resource to tap. You do have a lot of one-on-one consulting, which is free. But once you start getting into further programming, that may be cost. There may be a cost associated with it. But regardless, you can easily give them a call, ask your question. And again, a question is free. Sometimes the answer may cost in some cases. Definitely explore that business continuation area where we talk before and after when disaster strikes. And the webinars are very good to have, especially since you can watch them online. All right, so this is what I was going to cover for part 1 of our program. Next week, we're going to be talking about part 2, which we're going to be talking about all of the resources available here at the library. We're going to talk about the online resources, as well as there's some upcoming dates of note for the year that you may want to keep in mind, because that also will reveal additional resources that you may want to tap. So I look forward to seeing you. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact the library. Our email address is librarian@leesburgflorida.gov, or you can give us a call at 352-728-9790. When you're in our telephone tree, just press option 3 and you'll come to the reference department. We'll be glad to answer your questions. Again, thank you for being here with the Leesburg Public Library. I'll see you again next time.